Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her producer and husband, Fuzz Martin.
Fuzz with a cold.
I do. I have a cold. And I am like
pushing
typical
buttons with a cold.
Typical, yeah, I need to disinfect this computer once I'm done. No, it was weird. It's because like I've been like kind of keeping it at bay. Like it's been annoying but not bad, but today it's getting bad. So. It may be because this morning when I went to the gym and we had an inch of snow on the ground.
You didn't wear a coat.
I shoveled the driveway in my gym shorts and a hoodie.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Wisconsin, folks.
Yeah. I'm also right now
in
wearing
gym shorts
and a hoodie. Maybe I need pants and a parka.
And a cough drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So is winter in Wisconsin. So this week, though, we are talking about things to visualize. My theme is visuals to save the day.
Visualize world peas.
Yes. So it kind of goes with our first one, actually, because it's visuals to save the day. And the first website is Visualize Me.
Oh, yes.
What?
Visualize Me.
Yeah. So the thought is, like, I'm always trying to throw in new websites and things for the kids to try.
Yep.
But visuals are always good because they catch everyone's eyes, and the kids like to work on things.
Visuals catch eyes.
Yeah.
Visualize.
Ooh, I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
But it's, when you can use a little creativity and add some visuals to a presentation or to a discussion or, have some background while it's okay. We'll use some background, pretty things while you're talking.
Yep.
Just, it's a little more fun. So, so I'm focusing on things that are visual this week. Mm-hmm. So the first one is called Visualize Me. It's visual, VIZUALIZE.me. And it's in beta. But it's an infographic resume builder, which I know we will have our students write traditional resumes.
Yeah.
But if you want to mix up class a little bit, or I think in your line of work, people's resumes are not always just straightforward. There's some more visual aspects to it.
Sometimes they'll have like like level of experience in Photoshop, like 8 of 10, and like a little graph or like star, star rating or something like that.
Okay, it's like little
like personality 5 out of 5, and
yeah.
I mean,
catches your eye.
Usually people aren't like 1 out of 5.
Right. They're not like, I sort of have some personality.
It's usually you're visualizing subjective levels of things.
Right.
So it's kind of, but
they cutify it.
It does catch your eye, which is important.
Right. It makes it stand out in your pile of papers. So anyway, Visualize Me is it's a digital resume builder, which I was thinking we do some resume stuff with 8th grade. And definitely our high schoolers, like our sophomores, all take a class on learning like college and career readiness and stuff. But I feel like exposing kids to resumes, the sooner the better. And this site provides a fun way for them to kind of learn what would go into a resume. Even it doesn't even have to be super formal, but it's formulaic basically. So you go to Visualize Me, and when you open it up, it asks you to type in like my data, work experience, education, my links, and you edit each one of those, and you put in your information, and then it creates an infographic based on all of your information. It's kind of cool because you can pick then across the top there's themes where you can choose different types of like infographic styles for what you want your information to look like. You can choose styles with like color themes, and that to me is even another like learning point where, and you're very good at this, knowing the numbers of what colors for backgrounds and layouts are. And teaching kids kind of like these colors coordinate together and these things do that.
Well, if you want to learn that, the tool that I use as a colorblind individual is adobe.com/color. Mm-hmm. It used to be called Color, but it was spelled Kuler, but then they finally got smart and just changed it to adobe.com/color, the regular word. And you can pick a color that you want to do. You can upload a picture of something, and it will automatically find color schemes for you that you could use on your website. Like this Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.
Right. That one's all done on
I picked those on, because if I picked them myself, you would end up with like mint green and
like a bad orange or something.
Bad orange and khaki.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes. Well, I think that you gave me color schemes. You're like, here, pick one.
Yeah, I selected some, then you picked one you liked, but
right.
I couldn't tell you what colors they were.
Right. Also true, because all the blues and reds look the same to you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool that this then like shows you or the designers or adults or whoever, but in our case kids, how to put those color schemes together. So those are options for styles. You can pick backgrounds and fonts and all that kind of stuff, and you can even upload information that you have, which is kind of cool.
The thing that I really like about this is the visual timelines that they have, which are it's a cool way of showing, especially if people have overlapping work experience or volunteer experience. One thing while we're talking about resumes, this is really not a technology piece, maybe a tiny bit. So I interview a lot of people. We hire a lot of people. There are kids coming out of college, and even some who have been in the workforce for a few years, who will send you their resume via digitally, which is what we expect.
Right.
But then when they come to an interview, they don't print out their resumes. So you get in a room, and either we're responsible for printing out the resumes, which you shouldn't make the person who's doing your interview responsible for anything.
Right.
You should make it easy for them. But also, otherwise, got to pull up a device and scroll through on my phone while you're...
Do you think that that's because for a lot of things in education, we don't have kids print stuff off. They turn it all in digitally. We grade it digitally. We do it digitally.
I think maybe
or do you think they just don't know?
I think they're used to being I prefer everything digital up front.
Yeah.
But when you're in an interview, it's impolite to have a device in front of you, right? And looking at your phone or looking at your computer. Easy to get distracted. And if you're going to be talking about your experience, and probably somebody's taking notes and things like that.
Right.
And best to take them on that. So
do you do digital portfolios when you do interviews with people?
And
so then they can bring a device.
For designers and stuff, and they'll bring a device, yes. Right. But when you're the interviewer, having their resume in front of you so you can look at some stuff, make some notes, have it in front of him. If you're doing 5 interviews in a day, you don't have them all memorized.
Right. That makes sense.
And, frankly...
So as a tip for our high school or college kids.
Exactly.
Bring your printed resume with you.
That's right. So.
And those of you teaching college and career readiness?
It's real simple.
Make them aware.
It doesn't have to be on the fanciest paper even, unless you're going for a position that, you have to wear.
It requires fancy paper.
Right. But.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so bring a printed one, but you can create a cool Visualize Me. So back to Visualize Me really quick. So when you're creating these infographic resumes, they look really cool. And you can make them all pretty. Something to be aware of, if kids hit the publish button, so my guess is high school kids, this would be fine for. College kids, absolutely. I wouldn't have the middle schoolers hitting publish on it, because it does make a public profile, and then people can actually access the resumes. So just being aware, to me, this would be high school on up.
Yeah.
But practice with the middle schoolers, because it's fun to play around with, and they can learn a lot of things that would help them. The other thing is, when you hit print, it's not going to print right away, because my suggestion is use a screenshot. Because it switches to a different website, which actually we've talked about before, which is called Venngage.
Oh yeah.
And that is like an infographic site that we've talked about, and they do different visuals and stuff like that.
Sure.
But visualize.me is like a beta format of practicing, or, it's a beta. So it's in progress for creating these infographic resumes, but then it also connects to Venngage, which we have discussed before for cool infographics and stuff like that. So it's kind of neat little tie-in, but something cool that I was digging around with, and I thought it'd be fun to expose students to in some practice with resume building without having to do anything super formal.
Yeah, great.
So, yeah. So on with our visuals. The second one I wanted to talk about was Lucid Press, which I feel like we have talked about before. We did like a newsletter episode 9.
Okay.
That we talked a little bit about Lucid Press. I didn't spend a ton of time on it that time, I don't think, but I showed just how to make newsletters in Lucid Press and various other things. Lucid Press has so many options for designing and creating, but I was digging around with the infographics because I love an infographic. Again, to me, it's like the easiest way to share information and get everything that you need all in one place. But if you go to lucidpress.com, lucidpress.com, and then they always have like your options for like templates. So like banners, booklets, brochures. We do a lot of booklets too. But if you type in infographic, and that's something you don't normally, it doesn't always bring up infographic, but if you type it in, there's like a billion choices. So you just pick a template, create, and then it loads everything in that you need it to do. And you're able to have the template. They look beautiful. They look professional. And you can just literally double click and change out the information. If you want to change out the different little pictures and visuals, you can change that out. You can switch out your images. You can change the effects even. So your images, if you like theirs, but you want to change the contrast, the brightening, you can do all that. There's a million options. You can work your way through the toolbars across the top, change the borders and the shadows, and it's just there's so many options. So what's kind of cool then is with Lucid Press in the premium version, it connects to your Google Classroom. In the free version, it does not. However, you are able to collaborate with others, which is nice. Like students can work together, and then you're able to download your like infographics that you've created, so it's easily shared. If you wanted to then put it into Google Classroom or something, that you could. So Lucid Press, we've talked about before, kind of newsletters, and there's a million templates. I could probably do a whole like season on Lucid Press and do the different templates. Yep. But I was digging around and I found the infographic one, which I hadn't seen before. And I was having my students do some design with infographics and choosing different sides of an issue. In science right now, they're also talking about natural disasters and what causes them and things like that. So they're doing kind of like research-based infographics, and then like teaching others about different types of natural disasters. And they talked about maybe doing some stuff on wildfires, that kind of thing. So just different things. You can use them for any subject area between science and social studies, computers, using them all the time. And reading, I've seen also infographics make really cool bookmarks. Where in reading they can give like highlights to books or specific questions to look for when you're reading, and then create kind of little digital bookmarks or and then print them and stuff like that. So
you could create cool like recipe things. You could do
cards,
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so it's kind of think beyond just the usual, like I always say, like a great summary of information, but you could do all kinds of stuff with it. So
so that's lucidpress.com.
Dig it out. It's been a while. And our third one, I'm super sparkly about this one because you can learn it in a Snappa.
Ha 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 ha.
What?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. Yeah.
It is.
Snappa is it's a design site.
Okay.
For graphics.
Create online graphics in a snap. Whip up graphics for social media, ads, blogs, and more, even if you're not a graphic designer.
You can do it in a
Snap. So kind of like our Canva and the other one that we talked about, which I'm forgetting at the moment, but we had one. Genially, that's the one.
Similar, but not as many options as those. So Snappa is snappa.com. And it's in the realm of Canva and Genially, but there's not as many options, or even like Adobe Spark. There's not as many options, but there's more. I feel like you can kind of do more with them. Don't get me wrong, there's tons of options like Facebook posts and Twitter posts and YouTube thumbnails and blog featurettes, and look, it's an infographic or an ebook cover. So there's social display ads. There's all kinds of things to do.
Right.
But so let's go in. We'll do a blog featured image. So you click on that. You can click on Start from Scratch. They also have tons of templates that you can pick from. There's also a super cute little video when you first sign up that's like under a minute long, and they show you how to do everything. So you just click on, so you get a Snappa, you pick your thing, you can go through, you can search all of their images and patterns and stuff. Pick and choose something that you find the kids want to find interesting. As a teacher, by the way, you can totally, I play around with stuff like this to incorporate in my classroom, make examples, like use it on a newsletter or on my set of directions for the day. And then the kids have seen it kind of as a model, but then they also know that I can help them with it too. So pick a background picture, click on effects, and again, these are all just little tabs at the top of the screen. You can pick overlay colors, which I think is really sweet.
Yep.
Because, well, you can't always do that. So I picked my little picture. I'm going to overlay it in purple. I'm going to darken it. I'm not going to blur this one, but I'm going to switch out the saturation, change the hues and the brightness and the contrast. And for me, just like letting the kids play around with that usually takes like 12 hours, because let's be real, they get to like make it purple, make it dark, make it faded. So this is like one of those where it'll take some kids 35 seconds, and it will take some kids like 5 hours, because they're going to want to play around in it. But it's really cool. You can like go to graphics and then pick a graphic. So I want some sort of graphic image, I don't know, an arrow. So if I click on that, then I can drag it over, and it just adds it into my picture, which is kind of cool. And then you can choose from there, like your little pictures. You can flip them and turn around and change their colors and make them solid or opaque, or like, what do you want to do? And then you can add more shapes, and you can add graphics, and you can add text. And like one thing kind of just builds on another thing on top of another thing.
Right.
You can flip the whole thing around. You can resize the whole thing. And make really cool images. So I'm going to have my computer students they're going to use this to design their blog backgrounds for their blogs that they do. And then I'm also going to have them, they've been doing some research in one of my classes. And so I'm going to have them like highlight one research point and just have that as their background when they're presenting. So that way they've got like a cool visual they've created, but they're just going to do like a quick 30-second talk. So that way, it's not a full presentation. It just gives a visual when they're speaking. So all of those things. And then it's kind of cool because you can, if you choose to share your image, you can add it into the account if you've created your account. Or you can save it just to your thing, and you can download them.
Sure.
So you have options for what you want to do with them and how you want to download them. And it's just a really cool way to create fun images based on, and you could upload your own like pictures. So if they want to do like a cool, like about me kind of thing, they could take a picture of themselves, make all these cool changes to it, put some information about them, or no information, and just use it as a background. But there's tons of options with it, and it's really fast. you can make something really beautiful really quickly. I know the kids will probably take more time with it just because it's fun.
But you can, if you're determined.
Yeah, you could bust something out probably in, like I said, like 30 seconds, and it would look like a professional photograph that's been edited and made beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a really easy site to navigate. The one thing with the downloads is you only get 3 downloads per month in the free version. So that's the only kind of downside on that.
Yeah, but 3 per month. I mean, you'd be,
Yep.
Depends on what you're using, or if the kids are playing around, be like, save 1 for an assignment and then 2 for your own.
Yeah.
But so that's Snappa. Something kind of fun we've been playing around with, and I thought it'd be fun to
snap into a Snappa.
Learn it in a Snappa. Mm-hmm. What?
The puns never stop.
Craziness.
Yeah.
So are you able to visualize things now? Do you feel?
I'm a little. Things are a little blurry for me at the moment.
Are you feeling the visual?
But only because
you're full of snot.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, on that note,
it could be worse.
Yeah. So see? Very good.
Happy thoughts, warm, happy, sunny.
Good. You can visualize good things.
Visualizing a full box of Kleenex.
Yes. So. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter @SmartNWI. And if you ever want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in the episode, you can visit smartnwi.com, specifically that nifty EdTech directory. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart NWI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on the podcast, please consult with your employer regulations and make sure they're cool with it. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as discussed, or as described even, or as talked about, or at all. Sometimes they go away, as we found last week with one of them that we had to put to bed. But
this is true.
But we hope they do. We hope they work for you. And we'll talk to you again next week on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. Thanks for listening. Sorry I was coughing. Bye.